Hey, what's up team? So we just had the latest breakdown for the Korean developer livestream, and there's a lot to uncover here from major system overhauls to upcoming content drops. And towards the end of the segment, they had a Q&A which revealed some pretty interesting dev insights. So let's break it down. Here's a quick look at the new roadmap they're proposing. Although things won't line up exactly for us on global, we can still get a little bit of insight for when this content might be coming. So I'm going to quickly go over the roadmap here and then move on to a bit more detailed news. So in April is the new and returning pass renewal, the runebook system, weapon appearance dying, new solo dungeon bosses, and reducing the cost of trait resonance. Let's get this out of the way first. So the new player catch-up that's happening in April is most likely and probably will only be for the Korean server base. So first up, let's talk about the new rune system overhaul, as it's one of the major things that were talked about in the live stream. So we're getting a complete overhaul of the rune system, with a new rune menu accessible from the main UI. Currently, how we level up our runes, when you acquired another copy of the same rune, it would have a % chance to drop at a higher level. So for instance, if your current level of, let's say, a melee heavy attack rune was level 5, and you acquired the same rune, you would have a % chance for that new rune to be, let's say, level 6. And this chance was very low, and only got worse as rune levels climbed higher. And while the system worked, there was definitely a lot of tedium in managing and saving the runes you want. So this new rune system rework is going to help address that tedium. So with the new system they're proposing, which they did call a rune book, I'm not sure if that name will be the same for global or not. So yeah, as mentioned, this new system will be accessed through the main menu UI and no longer through your inventory. And we won't have a rune bag anymore. So now in this new rune book, each individual rune will be listed inside this new menu and will no longer get multiple copies of the same rune. So everything is going to be managed in this new UI. And when you acquire a new rune as the same stat type, it still has a chance to level up the rune level, but they've added a fail stack mechanic. So if a rune level fails to upgrade, you will gain experience now towards the next level instead. So this is a pretty huge change, and it's going to allow runes to level up much easier. So I definitely wouldn't be opening up too many epic level rune chests, because when we get this new rune rework, it's going to be much easier to level up your current runes. So I would focus on getting some synergies and saving the rest until we get this new system, which should be arriving sometime in April for the global player base. Also a note here, they mentioned since the new rune system has been mostly completed, they're going to move on and work on adding rune presets. So you'll be able to hopefully apply them to your different gear presets. A great new addition to the new rune system in my opinion. Moving on from there, they're introducing 4 new solo dungeon bosses, so most likely 2 new solo dungeons, having 2 bosses each, with a focus on a bit more challenging mechanics and less focus on raw DPS. We're also getting weapon skin dyeing, so we'll be able to further customize our weapons with different colors, and a proposed combat positioning system, where additional bonus damage can be applied to the back or sides of a monster. They're also doing some tweaks to the restoration coin used for PvP respawns, and they're addressing some of the tedium in solo dungeons for the movement-based sections, so like the water rapid area or the red-green color section, to be a bit less tedious. They're showing a pretty clear focus on some quality of life improvements and addressing some good community feedback here, hopefully making some of the solo dungeon segments a little less frustrating, and the proposed combat positioning system could make PvE a little bit more interesting as well. Moving on from there, we'll go to our May updates, where we're getting inner server siege, so cross-server battles, a new codex side story, so a bit more lore and story-based content here, a new co-op dungeon, so a new 6-player dungeon. They didn't say too much about this, but I do wonder if they're going to be introducing some new gear sets, so it should be interesting. And the new 12-player raids, where they did mention it's expected to have a strong coordination with your party to complete. No mention of any legendary gear, or the rewards that are going to be in the new 12-player raids, so not too much to comment on there, as well as no mention of any legendary gear. So the new 12-player raid's a pretty great addition for anyone wanting some deeper endgame PvE. Hopefully it's going to be rewarding enough though to keep everyone engaged without feeling too grindy. That's pretty much the TLDR from everything in the roadmap they covered. So I'm going to move on to some developer Q&A highlights. This was a little bit hard to sift through, as obviously I'm reading everything through an auto-generated text translator, but I did my best to pick out some highlights for things that I could make out. So I wouldn't expect everything in here to be 100% accurate or true. So there was mention of some new anti-healing effects in PvP are being expanded on. More life skills are in development, which is always great because just having our fishing and cooking right now feels a little bit lacking. They mentioned that a housing system is officially in the works and is being worked on. There was a note that more sources of obsidian, the black anvil weapon material requirement, are going to be expanded on. So these weapons are hopefully going to be a little bit easier to craft. They mentioned a summer water gun fight arena event similar to the winter arena PvP event that we had. They mentioned the Guardian growth system progression is going to be delayed, so I wouldn't expect this system in the near future. The artifact system is having a UI improvement. Evasion and hit is being reviewed. They mentioned that 6v6 arenas are being considered, but there are no plans for 1v1 arenas. They also have no plans for a DPS meter, but they're willing to improve the existing contribution system. So the one where you can see where you rank at the end of a boss kill. Some more movement skill improvements are coming, particularly ones that are getting stuck on terrain, so your precision dashes and such. And they're looking at ways to give tanks better aggro management as DPS scales up with newer gear. So that pretty much covers everything from this developer livestream that we had. But as some final thoughts, I would hold on to the majority of your rune chests until the new rune rework system is implemented. We should be expecting some major PvE content soon, 12-man raids and some new co-op dungeons. The housing, life skills, and PvP adjustments are actively being worked on. And I wouldn't worry too much about legendary gear coming anytime soon. As always, thanks for watching. Consider leaving a like or a sub as it really helps out the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.